All right, so was it? I want to say the other day, but it's probably a week ago or so now. I rechecked the upload time. I don't remember exactly when it was, but yeah, the other day I was talking about the comparing K20 blocks, the A2, A3, and the Z3 I had, right? If you read title properly, the video says comparing bare blocks. All right. Now, I know I've talked about the K20A3 a whole bunch in this channel. As a matter of fact, when it comes to K-series topics, the A3 is what I've talked about a lot. Why? Because I've found that there's just a lot of things you can do with it that most people overlook. Just showing something that can be viable without, without just considering that you have to throw it away, because you can't find them pretty much everywhere consistently cheap, because everybody looks at them as no value, and there's plenty of them out there. It's not like where you're looking at like the D16 or D17, where nobody really values it, and there's not a lot of them out there. They don't run around too much. K20A3, I would imagine you see a lot, just because a lot of pulled crash cars, people pulled and parted out, or people upgrading to an A2 or an A4, or A2, or or a K24. So then the K20A3 just kind of gets tossed to the side, and people are just trying to get whatever money they can for it. So anyway, when I talked about that, I rewatched the video, and I noticed I didn't say bear in the video, but I thought it was kind of clear from me titling it bear blocks. So when I say the blocks aren't the same or are the same, I kind of figured that people would understand from what I was talking about, that they were talking about just the engine block itself. And I mean, just the bare engine block, no accessories. The block itself, they are the same, except for the oil squirters and the oil coolers that come on these factory for these IV Tech blocks. Other than that, the block is essentially the same thing. They fit the same crank. They say they have the same main bearings and shit. The only things that are different are the rod bearings or the rod journals, right? So, and now to kind of clarify here, because I kind of feel like this went over a lot of people's fucking head, and I'm not saying that you get a fucking K20A3 and you can throw the same kind of power at it that you would an A2 and it'll make that, because I've said it a whole bunch of times that I wouldn't really like to take an A3 over 300 horsepower, because I don't think it will last too long. Now, there are some people out there who have done it, and that's fine. But it's just, for me and my comfort level, I don't think that I would take an A3 past 300 horsepower. Honestly, I don't think I would take an A3 up and boost at all, really, with a stock bottom in, because there's just, you can get better stuff out there than pretty easy. You don't need to. You can even get stock stuff that I'm gonna talk about after this video that'll get you up really good power. Now, to talk about that, the whole idea here was do like a show you here. These are K20A3 rods, right? These are K20A2 rods. I think it's you could pretty obviously see the difference in the beefiness there. Yeah, there you go. See them side by side? I didn't put them exactly side by side, but damn it, you could tell that the thickness is serious over here when it's not so much over here. These look like baby rods. These are big daddy rods. All right? So the rotating assembly is not the same, guys. When I talk about the K20A2 versus the K20A3, I thought this was something that was common knowledge. Everybody knew the piston rods were different. But, for some people, even making comments like, oh, aren't they different cranks or whatnot? Yes. I wasn't talking about the fucking internals. I meant a bare block. What I meant, the whole point of it is that I was guilty of it, just because I wanted the number stamp, right? I paid, and this is the only time I've ever done it, and the only time I ever will, because I was still baby stepping my way into buying into the K market at the time. I bought a K20A2 bare block, or no, I didn't. I'm sorry, I'm lying to you guys. I bought the crank, and I decided not to buy the block. All right, so I bought a crank for $250 for an A2, and it's the only one I had seen for sale at the time, and I was looking to grab one, and so I bought it. Now, I probably won't be doing that again, although I say it's not really a robbery price. It's just that I can get complete short blocks for $300 or $400, so why would I bother paying for $250 for just the crank, right? So the guy had the crank. He had pretty much he had an A2 stripped down to sell for, and he was selling his parts, right? He wanted $250 for the crank, $250 for the bare block, and $150 for the pistons and rods. I didn't need the pistons and rods. I was already planning on buying forged pistons and rods, so I didn't, that's my A2 that I have under the table, right? And so I just bought the crank, and I had 3 K20A3s, so I was like, if I buy this block for $250, I really should slap myself in the fucking face, because I'm buying just the stamp, because the K20A3 will fit the rotating assembly for the A2. So that's why I'm saying that the blocks are the same. So if you got yourself the proper crankshaft, you get from a real IV Tech engine, and you got yourself an A3, there's no need to buy the block. You can just put the internals into an A3 block. People have done that for the longest time. You can do that, all right? So again, to show you stock pistons and rods, why these rods from these A2s or these beefy IV Tech engines, they hold more power. And the rod journals are thicker. I do believe they're bigger here than they are here, or one way around the other. I can't remember exactly off the top of the head, but yeah. If you can't put the A3 rods on an A2 crank, and vice versa, you can't put the A2 rods or the A3 rods on an A2 crank. You can't put A2 rods on an A3 crank. They won't fit. You need the right rotating assembly. And I made a video about that a long ass time ago too, swapping rotating assemblies. And this is also why I said, to give a shout out to my other video, the K24 is more builder friendly, because the K24, K20A4 has the rotating assembly is interchangeable, as in the pistons rods. You can get the shitty K20A4 with the shitty pistons and rods, and you can put K20A2 piston rods on that crank. It'll fit. So not only are you getting more displacement from the K20A4, I'm sorry, the K24, you're getting more displacement from a bigger liter engine. You're also capable of swapping the internals and spending a lot less money, because you don't need to buy another crankshaft to put in that engine. You just need to buy the pistons and rods, and it'll swap right in. So that's why the K24 is a great thing. And also, too, guys, for you guys that are coming there new, I want to say definitely go back and look through my playlist. Just take a glance at them. There's getting a lot of repeat questions again. I think every once in a while I get a big surge in subscribers, and a lot of people start asking questions that I've already covered a whole bunch of times. So if I'm ignoring you in your questions, that's the reason why. I'm gonna try and help get around that soon. During the last live stream I did, somebody suggested having a Facebook group, so where more people can interact. I don't think I have the ability for people to comment on my VHB Facebook, because I realize that that's the VHB Engine's Facebook page is the way I wanted to interact with you guys through Facebook. I have added a bunch of people, that have found my personal Facebook and whatnot, but that's one thing. But I think the main thing is to have, if you're following me for the car stuff, to follow me there, because I can put out little updates or whatnot. Because another thing that was said is that notifications didn't get pushed out to everybody through YouTube when I go live. Now, see, YouTube is shitty like that compared to Instagram. Instagram gives everybody the notifications. YouTube, it doesn't give you the notification if you haven't watched for a long time or whatever. It's the algorithm's there. Or sometimes, if you haven't watched the channel in a long time, it'll unsubscribe you, or just push back notifications so you won't see. So that's why I like to go on Instagram Live. The couple of times I did over YouTube, because I had more viewership on Instagram, surprisingly, despite the fact that I only have 600 followers on Instagram. So anyway, the idea is I am thinking about making a Facebook group. I probably will today, and announce it during the live stream I planned on today as well, and so we can have more open discussion there. And I have some people that have been following the channel for a while that have really paid attention, that know my shit just about as well as I do. So I'm going to be looking for people that are knowledgeable on on what I have my organization for the channel as moderators. So that way I don't have to put my feedback into it all the time. I can have somebody who knows my channel pretty well to help direct those people in that direction, because I find myself recently getting very frustrated with some of the questions I'm getting, and it's kind of hard to stay impartial. It has been recently, and I don't want to get to the point where I'm frustrated and I have to ignore everybody. But right now that's the track I'm on, where I'm going to start ignoring DMs in general, unless it's a really, really good question, because it's getting me more frustrated than ever to actually just read some of the shit that people are sending me. So I think that having this Facebook group, it'll have me as a way to stay in touch. Anyway, I don't want to get too much into it. I'm going to talk about that during the live stream, which is going to be 6 p.m. Eastern time tonight. Alright, so yeah, I just wanted to clear that thing up there, because it seemed like the whole thing shot over people's heads, even though I put bear block in the description and whatnot. But yeah, just clear that up, and I'm going to talk about the whole K-Series thing a little bit more in another video. Alright guys, so thanks for watching, and I hope to see some of you guys out during the live stream, because some of the questions that I'm getting frustrated seeing in my DMs, it'll be easier for me to answer in a live stream. And I've said that before a bunch of times, where I was going to do live streams more often, so that way I could answer some of the more annoying questions without getting annoyed. All right, guys. Thanks for watching, and peace.